Welcome to Stuff and Things. I'm Jess.
And I'm Chase.
We're switching it up a little today.
This is our podcast where we talk about the random stuff and things that influence our life and our business and just the random things and thoughts we have going on, I guess.
I forgot the rest of our intro, so I had to look at Chase and be like, I don't know what to say now.
But she got the intro at least.
I did.
Bit.
Woo!
So this is episode 11. We've made it past into double digits, which is super exciting. Yeah. We still have topics to go, which is also exciting.
Many topics.
We haven't run out of ideas quite yet. But we're actually talking today about what we kind of want to plan out for the next several episodes. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of feeling that we wanted to try to get on a little bit more of a plan, I think. Instead of just doing random topics about just randomness.
Well, I mean, that is the point of
they'll
this
still be
whole
random
thing.
to an effect. Meaning so like they won't have like a particular niche necessarily. Yeah. But what we want to try to do is focus on a particular topic, like an overarching topic for a number of episodes. And then end that with one of our 5-on-5s. Yeah. So we'll try to shoot to do like 4-episode little series on something. And they'll all like the episodes all kind of relate to each other. Mm-hmm. And then so they won't all be like, we're going to talk about dogs. And we're going to talk about dogs for 4 weeks and only dogs. But,
I could do that.
But Challenge I think that we're accepted. Going to, pick things like marriage or like faith. Or business, or all sorts of manner of little things that we can find that are really important to us in our lives.
So like for this Christmas season, we're kind of going to focus more on sort of an Advent season, so to speak, but a little bit of like Christmas and traditions and how we can love people in the midst of this, but then also how to like not kill yourself in the midst of this season. And all those good things. And then, of course, leading into the new year and
so we're going to kind of start it off with a little bit of a holiday theme, I guess, because this is a big season for us. Like, we really like Christmas.
One of my favorite Christmas so much.
One of my favorite holidays is on Thursday, Thanksgiving, mainly because I get to eat an exorbitant amount of food that is always really good. So we figured what better time to start this kind of series than on this week for Thanksgiving. So you guys will be hearing this on Wednesday. It'll be released on Wednesday. Then the next day will be Thanksgiving. And we will be in a food coma come about 5 o'clock on Thursday. But
it's going to be a good time.
So we want to kick this one off with talking about Thanksgiving, kind of our traditions, what we like to do for Thanksgiving, what our families did when we were growing up, and if any of those traditions kind of carried over. And then also just about kind of having a heart of thankfulness and what you can do to give thanks in this time, even though there's a lot of wildness going on with 2020 still.
Yes.
We can definitely find things to be thankful for and kind of breed that mentality of thankfulness.
Absolutely. So we'll kick it off kind of talking about our family traditions. I know we are kind of low key. We've always really just done our own thing as a family. Yeah. Here and there, we've done like Friendsgivings and things like that, but
those typically weren't on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no. We've always just pretty much done just us since we've been married on Thanksgiving, like us and the kids, and it's really been. I think it's been an important part of our journey as a family.
I would say so.
I feel like our kids always really enjoy it. I mean, they're already like, what are we going to eat? What are we going to do?
Yeah. And they like to get involved too and help out. And
they do.
When I'm not, ferociously cooking in the kitchen.
It gets a little scary. Like, he'll be like, get out. And we're all like, okay, we won't help anymore.
I only have like 1,000 pots on the stove and 2 ovens going in 2 kitchens, but no big deal.
We can help.
But I think also with that this has been just us. It makes it a lot less stressful.
It does.
Because, that's one big thing with this season is like having all your family come around and having all these people in your house and entertaining constantly for a whole week usually. And like trying to just keep your house clean and keep your kids dressed and like keep things like in order. And then always like cooking a meal for 15 people, like that's tough.
Well, and then you add in the current climate of like, should grandma come over?
Yeah.
Should grandma, I mean, I know we've been in that place because we'll usually go visit my grandma around this time. But it's like, oh gosh, should we do it? I don't know. I don't want to make her sick.
She's 96 years old.
Yes. She's amazing.
Still strong as an ox and living on her own in a kind of like community, I guess.
Yeah, retirement community.
But yeah, and so it's been hard for us to not be able to see her and kind of share this holiday season with her. But we understand that it is the responsible thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what we can do to keep her safe. And that's what's really important to us.
It is.
But yeah, so one of our, I guess, first traditions is just doing Thanksgiving alone.
Yes.
Which is fun.
Sounds sad though when you say it that way.
Like, it is made really easy by the fact that like your parents live overseas and then my parents live across the country.
Yeah.
So like we don't have a lot of like direct family here. You have aunts and uncles and like your grandma. But like they also have their own families that they're doing stuff with.
And their own kids.
Yeah. And so we don't really do anything with my parents or your parents just because of distance.
Yeah.
And especially this year. I mean, we had thought about maybe trying to do something, but then it was like, well, we can't fly anywhere. We don't really want to drive anywhere because we don't want to stop anywhere.
No.
And it's just been kind of one of those things where like, well, I guess we'll just stay here again.
Yeah. Well, and we also have a tradition. Sorry, I've got like a yawn that keeps trying to come and then it's like, nope, not yet. Wait for it. Anyway, so we also have a tradition of a bacon wrapped turkey.
Oh man.
I don't even eat meat, but this is a tradition we have, bacon wrapped turkey.
So there was this one year, gosh, it was a while ago, that we saw an article somewhere, a blog post or something that talked about this bacon wrapped turkey. And I was like, well, I love bacon and I don't really like turkey, so let's try it. And every year since then we have done it. And it is like the only way that I found to make a turkey that gives it really good flavor, that keeps it really juicy and like tasty. And then, I mean, it's just fun because you get to build like a bacon blanket on it.
You like wrap it in its little bacon blanket and put it in the oven.
Yeah. So basically you get your turkey and you like make a compound butter with a bunch of herbs in it and you stuff that underneath the skin of it and then wrap the whole thing in bacon and cook it slowly, and all that like bacon grease like drips onto the meat basically and just like bastes it for the whole time it's cooking. And it's super good. Yeah. Our dogs are going crazy in the background if you can't hear them. But I don't know what's going on.
I don't either. There's probably a wild animal outside and they just cannot handle themselves. We also have a tradition of watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I am such a nerd and I love it so much.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's going to be a little different this year. I
know. I've been like really, really bummed about this. I had a student a couple years ago who actually got to go. And when she got back, I was like, tell me everything. She probably thought I was a psycho. But I was like, I'm living vicariously through you because that's been my dream my whole life to go on this parade.
Yeah, and you've lived close to New York City your whole life. I mean, you lived here in Ohio. Like I
guess we're like 6 hours,
6
10
or 8 hours,
whatever. I don't know.
But still, that's enough to drive out there for a weekend for the parade. I mean, I lived in Colorado my whole life, so it was never an option. Like there was never an opportunity to move out, to come out here. And I guess that was just something that you had an opportunity to do but never did.
Well, it was more so because Thanksgiving in my family was a really big deal. Like we all got together at my aunt's house. My grandma and my aunt cooked this elaborate feast that would like wrap around the countertop. We talked about this, I think, when we talked about food.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, the spread of desserts is equally as big. And it's just, it's such a to-do. And we would stay there. Like we'd get there in the morning and I would watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with like my aunts and my cousins. And, then football would be on or whatever. But we'd get there at 7, 8 in the morning and we'd stay till 10 o'clock at night. And like,
yeah, just an all day affair.
It was, it was a big deal.
Yeah, and we didn't really do that when I was growing up. It was usually just me and my parents and my brother, and we would just do Thanksgiving together. Sometimes we'd have it with my grandparents because they live in the same town as us, and occasionally my aunt would join us. But it wasn't like because we kind of had a spread out family as well through the West Coast and then Colorado. But yeah, one thing though that I remember growing up, we didn't really watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade as much. But my dad is a fanatic for the dog show.
Yes.
It comes on right afterwards. He is like all in on the dog show.
Which I am equally.
Oh yeah, we
a
love the
fan
dog
of.
show as well. But like I just remember that like every year we would watch the dog show together, and my dad would like stop doing everything that he was doing and go and watch the dog
show time.
And it was awesome. It was fun, and you know you got to see all the cool animals, and like it was a good time. And then football would start after that, and we would watch local teams if we were rooting for them or whatever. But it was kind of background noise because my dad then went in and cooked the meal.
Yeah.
Whether it was for just our family or for everybody. And it was always an experience to kind of watch him cook because I grew up with him cooking my whole life. I do remember one year he worked at a barbecue restaurant for years, and one year we actually took our turkey to the barbecue restaurant and smoked it overnight in the smoker. That's what started
the smoked turkey.
And like it was super good because like that smoker had been seasoned for like 15 years.
But your dad has made a smoked turkey like almost every year since.
Yep. He also,
because we did do a couple years in the beginning of our marriage where we had Thanksgiving with them.
Yeah, that's true. And he also did a deep fried turkey that year.
Yeah.
In the deep fryer at the barbecue restaurant. So it was super awesome. That was one memory that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And then one year, my mom actually got in a pretty bad car accident, and she ended up breaking her neck in multiple places and had to be like life flighted from our town of Steamboat Springs to Denver to go to the bigger hospitals, the national hospitals there. And my brother and I, we spent Thanksgiving with my grandparents then. And this is probably the most memorable Thanksgiving for me. One, because my mom was in the hospital.
I have heard this multiple times.
But two, because my brother and I got to make dinner with my grandma, and it was special because she was just like trying to do everything she could to like make us be happy. And so we made like green mashed potatoes and like this like the sweetest casseroles, and like we just stuffed our bellies full of like rolls and butter, and like it was really sweet and really tender. And I don't really remember like a lot about like spending time with my grandparents, but that was one that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And so it's something special that I really like, that I like to, want to get our kids involved in cooking to some degree. We're not going to have green mashed potatoes.
No, we're not going to have salt pie.
No more salt pie.
Gemma can make all the pies. No.
But yeah, so we've also done a few other traditions, I guess. Like we try to stray away from all the like super traditional food. We don't do like, I don't know, everything that people have, like, big cranberry sauce spreads and things like that. Like the traditional Thanksgiving, like the most traditional thing about Thanksgiving for us is that we have a turkey.
Well, we do like mashed potatoes and stuffing. So that's pretty traditional, but we don't do like, there's no cranberry sauce. There's never sweet potato casserole.
Gross.
I can't. Like, we both are not fans.
No.
We gave up on the green bean casserole because
it was
I
just
am
extra.
Literally the only person that eats it. So,
but we substituted it with like a sautéed Brussels sprout.
Oh, so good.
That's so much better. Yeah. So we just try to throw together a big meal. And it's a lot of fun. And then we like package it up at the end of the day into like little Tupperwares. And I really want to try, it's Friends, right? Yeah. Friends with the Thanksgiving Day sandwich. Yeah. I want to try the perfect turkey sandwich.
With the what's it called? The moist maker.
The moist maker. Yeah. The piece of bread soaked in gravy that's in the middle of the turkey sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah. That might be a thing this year. But we typically take our Tupperware that we get from the Chinese restaurant because they always have the best Tupperwares.
They give us these like, for those of you who don't live in this area, they give us these like Tupperwares that are like, I mean, it's a Tupperware. It's a Tupperware. Like it's on par with like Rubbermaid stuff, or whatever, like that you buy at Walmart. And so we just keep them
because they're awesome and they make perfect little meal carriers. So like I'll put in mashed potatoes and stuffing and some turkey and cover it with a little bit of gravy and put the lid on it. And you can just take that to work or school or wherever and throw it in the microwave. And you got a full on Thanksgiving feast for lunch. And it's great.
Except for by the time we are done with this meal, because we have, I mean, there's only the 5 of us. And
you don't eat meat. So there's,
and I don't eat meat. So there's turkey galore. But like There's just so much.
You can only eat Thanksgiving dinner so many times before you get tired of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But one thing we've started also doing is my family has this crazy Chex Mix recipe.
Oh, it's not your family. It's your mom.
No, it's my grandma.
It was your grandma?
It's in her cookbook.
Is it really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those of you who didn't watch our 5 for 5 last time about food, my grandmother wrote a cookbook.
Yes.
Published a cookbook nonetheless. And in her cookbook, there is a recipe for Chex Mix, and that the primary ingredient is bacon grease. So
now I will say I am a vegetarian, but I can't resist.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Oh my goodness.
It hurts my stomach so bad every year, but it's worth it.
If you follow us on Instagram, I would recommend following us on Instagram. I'll post some of our Thanksgiving Day food on there this year, so you guys can see the Chex Mix in the oven and the bacon wrapped turkey and all that stuff. But yeah,
you can see our absolute gluttony.
Yeah, it's about as American as it gets.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I'll link our
I'll
link our Instagram in the show notes so you guys can follow us on there. But yeah, so we like traditions, but we like making our own traditions. And that's been a big thing for us, is that there are things that we liked as kids that we grew up doing every year, but those were traditions that we made with our parents. And so we want to build those traditions with our family that are fun, and hopefully our kids will carry over one or two of them and then make their own traditions. Because I think that's really what is important, is, create those memories with your immediate family that they'll remember forever.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, you're saying that, and I was thinking like, well, I know there are traditions that we have, I feel like there's traditions we have throughout the year that we didn't have as kids necessarily.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to reflect on those, and then sometimes to look at a season of like, okay, what are we missing here that could be a better tradition, or we could do something different that really would set this apart for our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And just make it memorable for them.
Absolutely.
So, we're always trying to find new things, new exciting things for them, which is getting harder to do now because, Jude's 12. Yeah. So you can't really make a whole bunch of new traditions when he's, a teenager.
He's pretty set in his ways.
Yeah, so we're pretty set in what we do. I think that overall we'll find things that we'll maybe do every year. We started birthday week.
Birthday week is amazing
for our family.
Well,
you had birthday week. I
had birthday week my whole life. I don't know what's wrong with you.
But so birthday week, you get to choose, what we eat for dinner. And then
with it, it's within not reason. We let him have one eat out night, and the rest has to be the meals we cook at home. Yeah. But they get to choose, hey, tonight I want tacos, or I want burgers, or, whatever it is that they would pick.
On their birthday, they get a big eat out night. Yeah. And then we give one present a day for the whole week, which is super fun.
And then on their birthday, they get a couple presents. They're not we're not saying we're going all out and spending millions of dollars here. These can be little things. We kind of,
our budget didn't change at all for our kids' birthdays, going to having birthday week.
Yeah, we just spread
spread the presents out. And so instead of opening up, 15 presents on your birthday, they open up 5. Yeah. And then, the other, 10 are spread out over the other 6 days of the week. Yeah. And so it's a lot of fun for them to get one present every day and then to have a little bit of a celebration. And then when our parents send presents or your grandparents send cards or things like that, they open all those on their birthday. Yes. So it is a little bit more, and it's a little more exciting for them. But they've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, we also have done for a while now, we fill their rooms with balloons and birthday decorations, and we decorate our, main great room, and we make a birthday chair that's just for that person, and it has balloons and streamers and all that, and They love it. I think we could forget presents and they would not care. They would be like,
that is my least favorite tradition.
I know.
But it's because every year we're we'll get the thing that makes it easy to blow up the balloons. And then every year I'm sitting there at 11 o'clock at night blowing up balloons, being lightheaded.
Sneakily putting them in a bedroom. Yeah.
Maybe next year we'll buy the pump that will make it infinitesimally better.
Infinitesimally, huh?
Infinitesimally. I like making it words infinitely better. Because I mean, our kids love it, and they love waking up that morning and having a room full of balloons, and it's a lot of fun for them. But
it is.
So traditions are big in our family, and Thanksgiving is just another one of those that we have traditions for. So if you guys have any traditions out there, like definitely. Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Send us a message on Instagram if you want to. Let us know what your guys' traditions are. It's always fun to hear what other people do because they're so varied. Yeah. But we also wanted to talk a little bit about what I guess this season is really about.
Absolutely. And this is part of our tradition is when we sit down, and many, many families do this, we kind of go around and we say what we're thankful for. But we feel very strongly so that thankfulness, gratitude should be a daily practice, should be a big part of your life. So we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and kind of talk about thankfulness and gratitude and
kind of how you can implement it in your daily life.
And what it can bring to you.
What are some practical things that you can do to kind of feel thankful in your day to day?
Absolutely.
So we'll be right back.
And welcome back. We are really excited to get into this part of it because this is something we really started implementing in our own lives 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'd say 2 years ago.
Yeah. We had gone through some really hard times, and in those hard times, I had started doing a daily gratitude journal. And it just really changed the way I looked at things. And so a couple months after I had started, you joined me and we were kind of doing that every morning together. We've kind of gotten away from the practice a little bit, but it's still really important.
Yeah. So we decided that we should do this together. And so I guess this is kind of just talking about like how you guys can breed this kind of mentality of thankfulness in your life. And what are some like practical steps that you guys can take to kind of just experience that daily, and not just once a year during our American holiday of Thanksgiving. And so, like Jess said, one thing that we really started was a gratitude journal. And for those of you who don't know what that is, we would basically wake up every morning. We would do our Bible study together, which we still do every morning. It's just a little short devotional. And then we have a prayer time together. And that just is, for us, the best way for us to start our day.
Absolutely.
It starts us with connection and in an intimate setting and before any of the chaos of the day starts. Yeah. And so it's really, with 3 kids, the chaos can start very early.
Sometimes.
But we also implemented into that the gratitude journal. Yeah. And so in that you would write down, what was it? It was like 10 things that you were thankful for. Yeah. And then after that, you would write down 10 statements that began with "I am." And so they're like positive affirmation statements and goals. Too. So I am a good husband, or I am a good father.
And it was kind of with the idea of, if you say things to yourself in a way of completion, that you are that, even if you're not there yet, it pushes you in that direction because it's in your focus. Like you have that as your focus, but that's neither here nor there. So, I mean, it is and it isn't. Yeah, I feel like... That's a big thing because, that positivity breeds positivity. Yes. If you start your day off by writing down 10 things that you're thankful for from the previous day, and then you write down 10 things or goal statements or I am statements or I will statements, those are great. It sets the tone for your day, it sets the tone for your attitude, and it really helps kind of push you into that trajectory of choosing joy, choosing to be happy. And, choosing to really work on yourself. Yeah. Which is a big thing. Well, and I'm by no means a person that would tell you if you're just happy, you can, you're in total control of everything in your life. No, there's going to be crappy circumstances.
Yeah. Everyone has crappy days.
Everyone has really crappy stuff they've walked through. Just because you're walking through something hard and doing a gratitude journal and a practice of gratitude does not mean the hard thing will go away. No. But it changes how you look at it. And so that's something that we've really noticed, is that when we are in that practice, when we are thinking through the things that we're blessed with, so much stuff just kind of seems so insignificant. Like,
and also like it makes the seemingly insignificant things seem greater.
yes.
So like when you have to choose 10 things that you're thankful for, like it really makes you think, and like you have to think through your day before and be like, wow, like what was I thankful for? And you can check off the big ones like, I'm happy I was alive today, or like, I'm happy I had a job, or like I'm happy that I'm healthy, like little things like that. But then like you run out of those pretty quick.
Yes.
And then you have to really dive deep and be like, I'm really thankful for, increased communication with my wife. Like, or I'm really thankful that my kids were super helpful today with their chores.
Yeah.
Like I'm super thankful that my kids decided to listen to me today. Like, just little things though, but then you like breed that mentality of being able to like actually be happy.
Yeah.
For what you have. And so that's one big step that we had was just that gratitude journal. And then also just having an open discussion with our kids about what they're thankful for. We would ask them things like, like what was the highlight of your day? What was a success that you had today?
Yeah.
And then we'd ask that at the dinner table. And that's, one other thing that can get your family then talking about it and enjoying that conversation of like, just, I guess, feeling thankful.
Yeah. Well, and there are like clinical studies that prove when you practice gratitude, it really does change things. Like when you think about what you're grateful for, stress levels decrease. They say you're capable of getting better night's sleep.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of actual health benefits that come along with a practice of gratitude.
Absolutely. And that just helps you be aware too of what you have in this world. Because I mean, guys, we're really privileged. Like in America, we are really privileged. Like, and for us to be able to see that and understand that then puts you in a mentality of like understanding where other people are coming from and giving you the empathy for people who are less privileged than you are.
Yes.
And gives you the opportunity then to figure out ways that you can chase after helping those people.
Well, I know I read this article a few years back, but it basically said like even the poorest person in America is still more wealthy than like the top 1/4 of the rest of the world or something like that. Like
so
it's
like basically the poorest people in America are still in the top 1% of income in the world. Yes,
because we still make so much more than people in other countries. I mean, and yes, like Europe is obviously they're a great developed nation.
Yeah.
Like nations,
countries,
continent, whatever. But basically it was getting to the point that the majority of people live in developed nations in the world. And because of that, there is a much higher wealth per capita in America than there is in other countries. But I was just reading something today that said that 1 in 6 kids in America lives in food insecurity, meaning they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And that was pretty eye-opening. And just like, it was very interesting to see the other side of even in America.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's hard too, because like, especially now with the pandemic and with, quarantining and like with schools being closed or on an online capacity, like there's a lot of kids who rely on the schools to give them food.
Yeah.
And, some kids, even in our area, like they will only have meals at school. And so like, that'll be the only time that kid gets to eat.
Yeah.
And that's super heart-wrenching. And then you hear that like, well, they're not in school, so now these kids just aren't eating.
Yeah.
And it's super hard, but that's, a topic for another time.
That is a topic for another time. But I think it can allow you to see and look at your life and say, what, like, instead of being like, I want this and I want that and I need to do this, you're able to be like, wow, I am crazy blessed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know where my next meal's coming from. And in that blessing, then loving others for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that's the next step in it. Because like you can be thankful for everything, right? You have all this Thanksgiving and all this, like you can be super blessed and know that you're super blessed, but like, what do you do with it? You know, where do you go from there? Like, how do you then use what you've been blessed with to bless other people, to take care of other people, to really show them like that you have a heart of Thanksgiving, and that you're going to go out there and, you know, help them, because that's the next like actionable step then is like doing something about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Like showing people that you are thankful for them, you know, and that could just be, you know, picking up the phone and calling your parents. Yeah. Like, you know, and just telling them that you miss them. Yeah. Telling them that you love them. Like, it's just spending that 5-10 minutes on the phone with them. You know, it's hugging your kids extra tight. It's, you know, telling your wife that she's beautiful today and that you're really thankful for all the help that she does. You know, there's little things in life that spark joy in others that are really, really simple to do on your side.
Yes. Well, and I think we so often get wrapped up in our own worlds and our own lives and our jobs or whatever that we so easily walk past this as an important part of a healthy life. And, you know, I just feel like so often when we take things for granted, when we don't practice that, we end up so negative and so focused on the things we don't have or that we, you know, could be better. Oh, I want to fix my husband because he does this, that, and the other. Instead of being like, you know what? He's a great husband that is super fun to hang out with. And, you know,
just because he's not the husband that's, you know, like XYZ, like maybe he's, you know, husband ABC. Yeah. And that is just as good. But it's just a matter of trying to figure out, you know, be thankful for what you have been given. Be thankful for what you have. You know, and it's like you said in a previous episode, you know, the Michelle Obama quote, like, you know, water your own grass. Like, you know, be thankful for what you have and not desiring what you want. Because like, yes, you can strive for things. Yes, you can work harder. Yes, you can save for things. Like all those things are great. But like, if you're not thankful for how you got there, like how you got those things, like then they're meaningless. Like they're just things, they're just stuff. It's just an empty vacation. It's just a, you know, an empty, you know, present to your spouse. Like it doesn't mean anything. But like if you are truly thankful for the people around you and then you like exude that from you towards other people, like you're going to be different. Like people are going to notice that you're different and people are going to like be like, wow, like, that person is so great. Like they're so nice. Like they're so helpful. Like what do they got that like, I want that. Like, and so it's just that one spark then that like creates that mindset in another person. And then that person's going to influence other people and that's going to carry on, like, and just get this like sense of joy and happiness and thankfulness that doesn't just last until you fall asleep from your food coma, like on Thanksgiving. I mean, it's so much more than that. And it's it's about having a heart of gratitude and a heart of longing to give thanks for what you have.
Well, and I think if more people in America right now could practice that, we would be in a lot better place. Like I just look around it like, okay, Amazon, we got an Amazon ad in the mail weeks ago. I mean, ridiculous. Like so long ago, our kids all, you know, drew in it and this is what I want. But Amazon, of course, doesn't tell you how much it is. So they get our kids' hopes and dreams up on these like $300 things. I'm like, okay, well.
Not going to happen.
Not
bud.
happening. Sorry. But I just look at that. I look at what this whole season has turned into. And it's not about thankfulness. It's not about love. It's definitely not about Jesus. Yeah. It's more about, I mean, like, for example, too, Black Friday sales starting on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That was a trend,
right? Like Black Friday in America is traditionally the day after Thanksgiving. And it's a huge sale day. Like there's tons of deals and bargains and crazy bargains that you can get like in all the shopping centers. And it's a madhouse. And like then companies saw that like they can create this hype on these products. And so they started milking it for more and more and more. And like, it started out like, Black Friday started when retailers opened on that Friday, which is usually like 11 o'clock at the mall or 10 o'clock at the mall. And then it pushed back to 8 o'clock in the morning. Then it was 5 o'clock in the morning. Then it was like midnight the night before. Then it's like Black Friday starts at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. And it's like, it's just, it kept getting crazier and crazier every single year. And I would say
still is.
Well, this year's different.
I guess that's true.
For whatever reason with the pandemic, like it woke people up, I think, because a bunch of big box retailers like Walmart and Target, like they're closed on Thanksgiving.
Good.
And they aren't opening on Black Friday super early. Like a lot of these places are having like normal hours and they're allowing their employees to go home and enjoy time with their families.
Which is
they're
so
closing
important.
early on Thanksgiving if they're open so they can go home and have dinner with their families. Like it is such a relief and such a it's just such a great thing to see.
Yeah.
That people are like, what's actually important? Like spending time with my family.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about making this multi-billion-dollar company like another $1 million. Like, I want to spend time with my family and spend time with my kids. And because you know what? Our days are numbered.
Yes.
And not every day is guaranteed. And especially in this COVID era, like, who the heck knows? Like, it's wild.
Yeah.
And people are starting to realize, like, life is finite.
Yes. And I think in that, when we stop looking at the madness of like, oh my gosh, I only have 30 days till Christmas, I have to start shopping. Like, whoa, if we just learn to be grateful and enjoy this season and be present with our families and not get caught up in the hype of like shopping for them for useless crap that, come on, let's get real. They're not even going to care about next year.
Yeah.
Like
100%. Or it may not even work next month.
In our house, that would be true.
Yeah.
And I feel like, when I look back at the gifts that have been memorable in my life, the ones that have really stuck with me, they've been different.
Yeah.
Like my first guitar. It really set me on a different path.
Yeah.
Or a couple years ago, my mom gave me my grandparents' wedding pictures framed. And like,
it's super awesome.
Yes. It made me tear up. It was so beautiful. And I'll always remember that.
Yeah.
But I feel like for the most part, when we're just giving our kids crap, they are not going to remember.
No, it's just crap.
Yes. Like, I don't remember what I got for my fifth Christmas.
But they are going to remember sitting around and making a meal together.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to remember sitting around a table and talking about being thankful.
Yes.
They are going to remember, just the little things that become traditions.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. And that's what's important in your life is building those memories and those moments for your family so that they can enjoy them and then remember them and continue to enjoy them later in life.
Yeah. And I mean, truly, that is super important. But then also for each and every one of you, like, I know the ideas of self-care and loving yourself, those are wonderful, beautiful things, but they are nothing if you do not have thankfulness. Mm-hmm. If you don't have thankfulness in your heart for what you have, who you're surrounded with, the place that you're in, even when it's really hard, you will not be able to be in those places and actually get any reprieve from the self-care. Like,
yeah,
it's not going to help.
Meaningless. Like, exactly. Yeah. Without a heart of gratitude, it's not. I mean, a lot of things are meaningless. So yeah. Well, I think that that's a pretty great discussion on thankfulness and kind of where we stand on it. But I did want to end this on one other tradition.
No.
So growing up, when did you set up your Christmas tree? Was it previous to Thanksgiving, post Thanksgiving, the week of Christmas? When was it?
Personally, not soon enough because it was always the day after Christmas. Day after Christmas, the day after Thanksgiving. And it came down the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, like, I am a Christmas fanatic. I blame my parents for that. So.
Even though they set it up the day after Thanksgiving and broke it down the 26th.
I've told you this. Yeah. They would like put soot for footprints coming out of the chimney.
We'll get to that in the Christmas episode. But that's one thing that I think is a big point of contention. I see all over Facebook nowadays, like, oh, it's Christmas now. We're going to set our Christmas tree up. And I saw people like setting them up November 1st. And I was like, that's too early.
This is a crazy year. Let people have their joy. Let people have their joy.
To each their own. But yes. I am a day after Thanksgiving, no sooner.
It's super heartbreaking.
But I will not take the Christmas tree down to the first of the year.
Yes, we do that.
So we enjoy it for the full week after Christmas.
Yes.
And then it comes down with New Year.
But I've started listening to Christmas music a few weeks ago.
The local station here started playing Christmas music in like August.
No, it didn't. They switched over to a Christmas station. We have a station here, and for those of you who are here, 93.9 or 93.3 turns into a Christmas station November 1st.
And it goes until the first of the year.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
They just play Christmas music nonstop.
So let us know in the comments below when you set your Christmas tree up as a kid. Mm-hmm. And if that's carried over to now, or if you set it up for a longer period of time.
Yeah. And we really hope you guys have just the most fantastic Thanksgiving this year. Remember, be safe. Keep your loved ones safe by wearing a mask if you're out, and just
have a heart full of gratitude and belly full of turkey.
Yes.
And just enjoy the time with your family, even if it is over Zoom.
Yeah.
Make sure you call your loved ones, call your family, call your grandparents, tell them you love them, tell them happy Thanksgiving. And if you got any value out of this content, feel free to like it on the subscription service that you're listening to. If you're on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also hit the thumbs up button so you can see future videos from us about content like this. And we are getting ready to release some other YouTube videos. So be on the lookout for those. They'll be more tutorial based and a little shorter than our typical 50-minute podcast.
Yes.
And look at that. We came in at under 45 minutes today.
Yes,
so for that, guys, thanks for joining us today. Like Jess said, have a very happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.